Αυτή η καρδιά που ξέρει να παλεύει αιώνες τώρα με την ίδια αντοχή, σαν κύμα μες στη θάλασσα χορεύει κι ας είναι τόσο μοναχή. Γεια σου Ελλάδα, ποιος Θεός δεν ζήλεψε τα θαύματα σου. Γεια σου Ελλάδα, ντυμένη πάντα στα γαλάζια χρώματα σου. Γεια σου Ελλάδα, ποιος Θεός δεν ζήλεψε τα θαύματα σου. Γεια σου Ελλάδα, ντυμένη πάντα στα γαλάζια χρώματα σου.
Αγαπητοί μας φίλοι, γεια σας. Καλώς ορίσατε στο τηλεοπτικό μας πρόγραμμα Ελληνικές Μελωδίες. Είμαι ο Σταύρος Δήμου, διευθυντής και παραγωγός εκπομπής αυτής, μια εκπομπή που γίνεται εν συνεργασία με το Εθνικό Ίδρυμα Ραδιοφωνίας και Τηλεοράσεως των Αθηνών και της Κύπρου. Για σήμερα, όπως συνήθως, σας έχουμε ετοιμάσει ένα πολύ ωραίο πρόγραμμα και θα έχουμε σήμερα μία ενδιαφέρουσα συνομιλία με τον κύριο Ντίκ Ζακάρο, καλό μας φίλο, ο οποίος πηγαίνει για κάνσελο στο Ward 7, τον καλό μας φίλο τον Ντόμ Σιντέλ, ο οποίος πηγαίνει για κάνσελο στο Ward 1, του Μπρόκτον ασφαλώς, και τον κύριο Ρον Μάρα, ο οποίος πηγαίνει για δήμαρχος για το Μπρόκτον. Αλλά ας αφήσουμε την πολυλογία και ας παρακολουθήσουμε το ωραίο πρόγραμμα που σας έχω ετοιμάσει. Παραμείνετε μαζί μας.
Να μου επιτρέψετε να καλέσω ένα πολύ μεγάλο συνθέτη που επίσης έχει γράψει πολύ καλά τραγούδια, πολύ μεγάλα τραγούδια στον πατέρα μας, τον Γιώργο τον Χατζηνάσιο.
Καλησπέρα σας. Όπως γνωρίζετε, βρισκόμαστε εδώ για να τιμήσουμε τη ζωή και το έργο του Στράτου. Αυτό που δεν είναι γνωστό είναι ότι και οι δυο καταγόμαστε από το ίδιο μέρος της Μακεδονίας. Η καταγωγή μας είναι από την Ιγρήτα Σερών και των δύο. Με το Στράτο δεν κάναμε πολλές δουλειές. Συγκεκριμένα γράψαμε ένα 45 δίσκο. Από τη μια πλευρά ήταν η Αφιλότιμη και από την άλλη το Στερνό Ταγόη του Τάσου Οικονόμου και οι δύο στίχοι. Αυτό που μου έκανε εντύπωση είναι ότι τα είπε μία και έξω και τα δύο τραγούδια, παιδιά. Δεν έχω το ξαναδεί ποτέ στη ζωή μου. Δεν έκανε δεύτερη ηχογράφηση. Αυτό που ακούτε στο δίσκο είναι μία και έξω. Πάντως η ζωή δεν υπήρξε μάλλον Αφιλότιμη για το Στράτο, γιατί τον πήρε την οικογένειά του από εμάς πάρα πολύ γρήγορα, το στέρισε από εμάς. Αλλά υπήρξε απλόχερη, με Φιλότιμο, γιατί μας χάρισε έναν άγγελο, ένα στέλιο, ένα διαμαντή και μία Νατάσα. Και επειδή η ζωή συνεχίζεται, θα συνεχίζεται και ο θρύλος του Στράτου Διονυσίου. Ευχαριστώ.
μοναγωγιός και έχω γίνει ψυχοπαίδι και έχω γίνει παραγιός. Στη δική σου την καρδιά αφιλότιμη, πόσο λάθος με μετράς αφιλότιμη. Στη δική δική σου την καρδιά. Αφιλότιμη, πόσο λάθος με μετράς. Αφιλότιμη, αφιλότιμη. Ήμουνα ο Σενταλής και έχω γίνει μουσαφίρης και έχω γίνει κουρελής στη δική σου την καρδιά. Πόσο λάθος με μετράς. Στη δική σου την καρδιά αφιλότιμη, πόσο λάθος με μετράς. Αφιλότιμη, αφιλότιμη. Μονάχο παιδί, ήμουνα μονάχο γιος και έχω γίνει ψυχοπαίδι και έχω γίνει παραγιός στη δική σου την καρδιά. Στη δική σου την καρδιά αφιλότιμη, πόσο λάθος με μετράς. Αφιλότιμη, αφιλότιμη.
Οι νύχτες μου και με γεράσαν, γλέντια ξενύχτια αγκαλιές. Τόσες γυναίκες καημούς με κεράσαν κι ονειρεμένες βραδιές. Τόσες γυναίκες καημούς με κεράσαν κι ονειρεμένες βραδιές. Γυναίκες περάσανε κι όμως εγώ στη ζωή μου απόμεινα μόνος. Το πονοδώρο που πήρα από το χτες, φωτογραφίες παλιές, καρδιά μη κλαις. Ένα ποτήρι κρασί τα νιάτα μου κι όλο το ίδια με μοιάς. Γιατί κάποια αναζητούν τα μάτια μου τον ερχόμο μιας βραδιάς. Γιατί κάποια αναζητούν τα μάτια μου τον ερχομό μιας βραδιάς. Γυναίκες περάσανε κι όμως εγώ στη ζωή μου απόμεινα μόνος. Το μόνο δώρο που πήρα από το χτες, φωτογραφίες παλιές, καρδιά μη κλαις. Αϊτός, αϊτό μεγάλωνε, του λέγε και τον μάλωνε. Αϊτόπουλο γεννηθηκες, αϊτό να ζευγαρώσεις, αϊτούς και εσύ να δώσεις. Εσύ είσαι ένα αϊτόπουλο της συννεφιάς Ριγόπουλο. Παράκουσε, πήγε και ξεστράτησε μια πέρδικα ορέχτη, σε ρούγα πάει και πέφτει. Ένας αϊτός γκρεμιστήκε σύστηκε. Εσύ είσαι ένα αϊτόπουλο της συννεφιάς Ριγόπουλο. Ευχαριστώ πάρα.
Τώρα θα ακούσετε ένα τραγούδι, ενδεχομένως σε πολλούς να είναι άγνωστο. Είναι το πρώτο τραγούδι, η πρώτη μεγάλη επιτυχία που είπε ο πατέρας μας το 1960. Εγώ δεν είμαι ένοχος.
Αναστέναξτε φύλακες και σιδερά ραγίστε. Δάκρυστε δεσμοφύλακες και εσείς σκελιά λυγίστε.
Αγαπητοί μας φίλοι, καλώς ορίσατε τώρα στο πρόγραμμά μας τοπικά νέα, ειδήσεις από την Ελλάδα και άλλα ενδιαφέροντα νέα της παροικίας μας, με μια εκπομπή που σας προσφέρουν ελληνικές μελωδίες κάθε εβδομάδα. Και όπως συνήθως θα αρχίσουμε με τις ανακοινώσεις μας, οι οποίες σήμερα είναι αρκετές. Θέλαμε, πρωτού αρχίσω με τις ανακοινώσεις, να σας υπενθυμίσω πάλι ότι η παράταση της προθεσμίας υποβολής των δικαιολογητικών κατοίκων αλλοδαπής για το οικονομικό έτος 2012 παρατείνεται μέχρι Ιουνίου 28 του 2013. Για περισσότερες πληροφορίες τηλεφωνήσατε στο Γενικό Προξενείο της Ελλάδος στη Βοστόνη. Επίσης, αγαπητοί τηλεθεατές, μία διόρθωση και σας παρακαλώ να την προσέξετε προπαντός αυτοί οι οποίοι μένετε στο Γούστα. Από το Hellenic Art Society πήραμε την κάτωθη ανακοίνωση, η οποία λέει I invite you to join us for the highly anticipated finale of our 2012-2013 cultural series, Saturday, May 11, 2013. Before was May 4th, but they didn't realize that that week is Holy Week, so they changed the date now. Instead, May 4th is now May 11. And please note date change from that of the season brochure due to the Greek Easter. And I like to tell you their schedule. They say 12:15, bus will leave from St. Spiridon parking lot in rear of the church. 1:45 to 2:45, private guided art of antiquity tour at the museum. 2:45 to 4, free time for touring museum. 4:20, bus leaves from the museum for the Dolphin restaurant in Natick for a buffet dinner. And the menu will have chicken marsala, Boston scroll, rice, mixed vegetable salad, dessert, coffee, and tea. Members, they pay $50, guests $75. For more information, please see K Medio at 84 Newton Avenue, Worcester, Mass. Or go to the Hellenic Art Society at 95 Elm Street, the same place where is the office of my good friend Nick Mudios. Okay? Again, I repeat, the date has been changed from May 4th to May 11. Okay? And I was very pleased to receive this letter, ladies and gentlemen, from the Federation of Hellenic American Societies of New England, Ομοσπονδία Έλληνο-Αμερικανικών Σωματείων Νέας Αγγλίας, and I would like to share it with you. Κύριε Σταύρο Δήμου, Ελληνικές Μελωδίες, Brockton, Massachusetts. Αγαπητέ Σταύρο, ο πρόεδρος και τα μέλη του Διοικητικού Συμβουλίου της Ομοσπονδίας Έλληνο-Αμερικανικών Σωματείων Νέας Αγγλίας θέλουν να σε ευχαριστήσουν εγκάρδια για την υποστήριξη και συνεργασία κατά την διάρκεια των εορτασμών της εθνικής μας παλιγγενεσίας και όχι μόνο, η ιδιαίτερη προσφορά σου στην ομογένειά μας κάνει υπερήφανους να σε αποκαλούμε φίλο και συνεργάτη και ελπίζουμε η συμπαράσταση και συνεργασία να συνεχιστεί μελλοντικά. Σου ευχόμεθα όπως και στην οικογένειά σου υγεία και προσωπική πρόοδο σε όποιες μελλοντικές επαγγελματικές ενέργειες οδηγήσει η ελληνική σου ψυχή. Με εκτίμηση για την πρώην παρούσα και μελλοντική σου πρόθεση της ομογένειας και γενναίτερας Ελλάδος, Θεμιστοκλής Καρατζάς, πρόεδρος, Θεμιστοκλής Βούλγαρης, γραμματεύς. Σας υπερευχαριστώ και όπως έχω πει πολλές φορές, το πρόγραμμα Ελληνικές Μελωδίες είναι ανοιχτό για όλα τα ελληνικά σωματεία και όλες τις ελληνικές εκδηλώσεις που γίνονται εδώ στη Μασαχουσέτη. Επίσης, από το Hellenic Women's Benevolent Association, the Hellenic Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, λάβαμε το κάτωθι γράμμα, το οποίο I like to share with you. Mr. Steve Demos, Brockton, Mass. Dear Steve, I'm writing to inform you of all the exciting happenings that are going on the Hellenic Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Our spring fling event, held on Saturday, March 16, was a tremendous success. All the monies raised are earmarked for the many activities, outings, entertainment, and special needs for our residents. On March 30th, 2013, the Hellenic Women's Benevolent Association was named Person of the Year by the Federation of Hellenic American Societies of New England at their gala at Newton Marriott. We are looking forward to a busy week during Holy Week. On Wednesday, May 1st, His Eminence Metropolitan Methodios will be celebrating Holy Unction in the chapel at 9 a.m. with a Lenten luncheon to follow. On Holy Thursday, our residents will be dyeing Easter eggs with our activities department, and the Hellenic Women's Benevolent Association ladies will be busy decorating the epitaphion. On Good Friday, there will be an epitaphion service for our residents at 9 a.m. in our chapel. On May 6, 2013, we will be celebrating the name day of our chapel, St. George, with a liturgy at 9 a.m. Our luncheon under the tent event will be held on Sunday, June 9th to 13th, the Sunday before Father's Day. The events of the day include dancing, music, delicious foods, raffle sales, all other, and in our beautiful tent. Wishing you καλή Σαρακοστή, καλή Ανάσταση και καλό Πάσχα. Vicky Kechris, Hellenic Women's Benevolent Association President. I want to thank you, Vicky, and all the members of the Hellenic Women's Benevolent Association. Actually, you deserve the congratulations of all the Greek community for all the good things you do. Αφιλοκερδός. Συγχαρητήρια, and keep the good work. And thank you for all of the information you send me. Και μία ανακοίνωση από την Ελληνική Ορθόδοξη Αρχιεπισκοπή Αμερικής. Δήλωση της Ιεράς Επαρχιακής Συνόδου για την τρομοκρατική επίθεση στο μαραθώνιο της Βοστόνης. Η Ιερά Επαρχιακή Σύνοδος της Ιεράς Επισκοπής Αμερικής σήμερα, κατά την πρώτη ημέρα της Ιερινής Συνεδρίασής της, υπό τον προεδρία του Σεβαμετάτου Αρχιεπισκόπου Αμερικής κ. Δημητρίου, εξέδωσε την ακόλουθη δήλωση σχετικά με τη βάρβαρη επίθεση στο μαραθώνιο της Βοστόνης. Συγκλονισμένοι και πενθούντες για τα τραγικά γεγονότα της φρικτής και βαρβάρου τρομοκρατικής επιθέσεως στη Βοστόνη, στρέφουμε τη σκέψη και τις προσευχές μας στα αθώα θύματα και τις οικογένειές τους. Καταδικάζουμε απερίφραστα κάθε βία και τρομοκρατική πράξη, όπου η χθεσινή, η οποία προκαλεί τη δικαιολογημένη αγανάκτηση όλων όσων τιμούν την αξία της ανθρωπίνου ζωής, της ελευθερίας και της δικαιοσύνης. Είμαστε αλληλέγγυοι και συμμετάσχουμε με τους μαραθωνοδρόμους και τις οικογένειές τους, με τους κατοίκους της Βοστόνης και ολόκληρο τον αμερικανικό έθνος. Καλούμε τους πιστούς μας να προσευχηθούν για την απάφαυση των ψυχών των θεμάτων αυτής της τραγωδίας, για την επούλωση όσων επλήγησαν άμεσα, καθώς και για ολόκληρο το έθνος. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ την Ελληνική Ορθόδοξη Αρχιεπισκοπή Αμερικής και ειδικά τον Αρχιεπίσκοπο Δημήτριο για όλες αυτές τις πληροφορίες που μας στέλνει. Επίσης λάβαμε ένα ωραίο email, αγαπητή τηλεθεατή, από το Φάθα Κλεόπας, ο οποίος ήθελε να έρθει να μιλήσει στο πρόγραμμά μας για το Πάσχα, αλλά λόγω του ότι αναχωρώ για την Ελλάδα πολύ σύντομα και δεν έχω καιρό, τον παρακάλεσα αν είναι δυνατόν να έρθει όταν επιστρέψω το Σεπτέμβριο να μας μιλήσει για την Ορθοδοξία και σχετικά με την ελληνική μας πίστη, και μου έστειλε πίσω email και μου λέει καλό ταξίδι, καλό Πάσχα, και μόλις έρθεις θα ευχαριστηθώ πολύ να έρθω στο πρόγραμμά σου. Επίσης προσκαλούμε οποιονδήποτε οργανισμό ή Έλληνα να έρθει στο πρόγραμμά μας να μας μιλήσει για την Ελλάδα και για τον ελληνικό πολιτισμό. Εντάξει. Και μιλώντας για το Father Cleopas, μην ξεχνάτε ότι June 2nd is the dedication ceremony of the Boston Cathedral Upper Hall. And keep the date in your mind. I'm going to talk to you on that on our next program. Επίσης, από Annunciation Λάιντεος Φιλόπτωχος του Brockton, λάβαμε την κάτωθη ανακοίνωση and we like to share it with you. Weekend Greek Food Festival, May 18 and 19. Annunciation Greek Orthodox Church, 457 Oak Street, featuring authentic Greek food and delicious pastries. Come dance with us. Festivities begin at 11 a.m. For more information, please call 508-559-0910. Also, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that on Thursday, May 9, 2013, 182 Hungry Friends join us for our annual dinner and raffle. The donation is $125 per person. Participants can bring a guest to dinner for an additional $25. Please see any parish council members for tickets. And this, of course, is for the Greek Orthodox Church in Brockton. Okay? Και τώρα, αγαπητοί τηλεθεατές, θα ήθελα λίγο να σας μιλήσω για περί του Αγίου Πνεύματος. Ο άνθρωπος ως αυτεξούσιος μπορεί με να κάνει το καλό παρά τις δυσκολίες που συναντά στη ζωή του. Έχει όμως ανάγκη και κάποιας ανώτερης βοήθειας για να στηριχθεί στην αρετή και στο δρόμο της σωτηρίας. Αυτή η ανώτερη δύναμη είναι το Πνεύμα το Άγιον. Η χάρη του Παναγίου Πνεύματος μας στηρίζει στην αρετή και στο δρόμο της σωτηρίας. Χάρη λέγεται η βοήθεια η οποία δίνεται σε εμάς από το Θεό δωρεάν για κάθε καλό που επιτυγχάνουμε. Έτσι λοιπόν ο κάθε χριστιανός πρέπει να επιζητά τη χάρη του Αγίου Πνεύματος σε κάθε προσπάθεια καλού και ενάρετου έργου για να αγιάζεται και να ενδυναμώνεται με θάρρος, πίστη και δύναμη από αυτό κατά της κακίας, ώστε με σωστή και ενάρετη ζωή να κερδίσει την ουράνια βασιλεία του Θεού. Το Άγιο Πνεύμα είναι το τρίτο πρόσωπο της Αγίας Τριάδος, το οποίο είναι αναμάρτητο, ξεχωριστό πρόσωπο και ζωπιό και εκπορεύεται μόνο από τον Πατέρα και τιμάται ως Θεός και δοξάζεται εξίσου μετά του Πατρός και του Υιού. Το Άγιο Πνεύμα φώτισε τους προφήτες και μίλησε διαμέσου αυτών τα Θεία Λόγια και τις ιερές προφητείες περί της απολύτρωσης του ανθρωπίνου γένους. Επίσης κατέβηκε σαν πύρινες γλώσσες πάνω στους Αποστόλους και τους πόντιζε ώστε να κηρύξουν το Ευαγγέλιο σε όλον τον κόσμο. Ακόμη, αγαπητοί τηλεθεατέ, εμφανίστηκε σαν περιστέρι στον Ιορδάνη ποταμό κατά τη βάφτιση του Χριστού, συμπληρώνοντας το τριαδικό πρόσωπο του Θεού μετά του Πατρός και του Υιού. Αυτό το πήραμε πάλι από το ωραίο φυλάδιο του Μανταμάδου, το οποίο λάβαμε πάλι πρόσφατα, και ευχαριστούμε τον πατέρα Δήσο που πάντοτε μας στέλνει αυτά τα ωραία φυλάδια. Αγαπητοί τηλεθεατέ, εδώ θα τελειώσω, αλλά πρωτού τελειώσω θα ήθελα πάλι να σας πω ότι το πρόγραμμά μας σήμερα είναι μια προσφορά των τιμότατων δικηγόρων της παροικίας μας από το Γούστα, του καλού φίλου Νίκου Μούδιου, το γραφείο του οποίου βρίσκεται στο 95 Elm Street, στο ίδιο κτίριο όπου βρίσκεται και το Hellenic Society του Γούστα, με τηλέφωνο 508-752-2511, και όπως σας έχω πει τόσες πολλές φορές, ο Νίκος Μούδιος είναι ο κατάλληλος δικηγόρος για οτιδήποτε δικηγορική υπόθεση έχετε. Μία επίσκεψη στο γραφείο του θα σας πείσει. Αγαπητοί τηλεθεατές, παραμείνετε τώρα να παρακολουθήσετε την ωραία συνομιλία που έχουμε με τον κύριο Τόμ Σιντέλ, τον κύριο Ντίκ Ζακάρο και κύριο Ρον Μάρα. Παραμείνετε μαζί μας. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm indeed very privileged this evening to have with me three of my friends who are running for office for the city of Brockton. And as we say, we have diversity in here because on my left I have Mr. Ron Mara, who is a Lebanese American, and he's running for the office of mayor. I have my good friend Tom Sidel, who is Greek American, and he's running for Ward 1. And of course, my friend Dick Zaccaro, an American, an Italian American, who is running for Ward 7. Gentlemen, welcome to Grecian Melodies. I know you're running for this office, for the city of Brockton. We need new people in here because, as you know, the taxes are going high. It seems to me that nothing is going right in here. And I see you have on your lapel, stop higher taxes, and I agree with you because every year the taxes are going higher and higher and higher. But before we start talking about those subjects, I'd like to start with Mr. Mara and ask him, why are you running for the office of mayor?
Well, I was born in Brockton, raised here. I've lived here my whole life, and when I take a ride around the city and I see the streets are in horrible condition, the buildings are empty, houses are being foreclosed, and I see us wasting millions of dollars in the desal plant and the rocks and other things, and I feel that the city right now is broken, but I feel that I have a plan and a vision to bring it back to where it should be.
Excellent. Same question is going for you, Tom.
Thank you.
Because I know you have good business, and I want to know why you're running for Ward 1.
It's just the taxes are very high in the city for what has to be shown for it. The roads are very bad. There is the politicians that are in office now really haven't done anything for the city, and they continue not to do anything for the city. And I want to change that. I want to come in. I want to be a voice of the people. Someone to answer phone calls, unlike Tim Cruz, who doesn't really answer phone calls. I want to answer those phone calls. I want to be there for the people. I want to do what I can for the people.
Excellent. Same question for you, Dick.
Well, first of all, let me thank you for having us on the show. And I want to cover all bases, so I want to say tiganyas to the Greek listeners, como sta to the Italian listeners, and hello to the American listeners. But it's a pleasure to be on your show. We've been friends for a long time. Our children, our daughters grew up together. And I think we're all here. It's interesting because this year the election is nonpartisan, which means it's the top two vote getters, whether one's a Republican, a Democrat, or unenrolled independent. And we do have three businessmen here. And I've always been involved with politics in the city, a lifelong resident as these gentlemen. And we've taken a keen interest in city government. I've been on many committees over the past years. I've run for office before. I worked for the state for 15 years and the private sector for now 20 years. And I started my own business 7-8 years ago. So we all have a vested interest in the city, as you do. And we want to make sure we get the most bang for our buck. We have exceptionally high taxes. And what are we getting in returns? As Mr. Matta pointed out, the streets are deplorable. We're wasting millions of dollars every year on a desal plant that we're supposedly getting 3 million gallons of water that I think was earmarked for the power plant, but since it did not go through, we're supposedly stuck with the contract. There's no such thing as an ironclad contract. I've looked at billions of dollars in contracts over the years in the investment industry, and there's always an out clause. Usually it's subject to 30 days negotiation or an out by both parties. And if they're non-performing, then we should get out of that contract. Yeah. But I think all three of us want a better city government and better representation for the people, more bang for the buck, lower the taxes, fix our infrastructure, offer the people a lot more than what they're getting in return.
Mr. Mara.
Yes.
The same thing I want to ask you, about the things that Mrs. Zaccaro indicated about the desalinization plant It seems to me that the city of Brockton is paying about $5.5 million a year.
6.1 this year.
6.1
This year. It goes up every year.
We're going up.
Yeah.
And they don't even get one drop of water.
No.
Reading the Enterprise, it says that they're losing money, and nobody, is going in there to say, hey, let's see. I mean, this is money of the taxpayers, and it seems to me even the attorney of the city, he says it's impossible to break that contract. Every contract you can break it, What do you think about that?
Well, I did a big study on the desal plant and the contract. The contract can be broken. We gave the city reasons to way out of getting out of the contract. Number one, we feel that the contracts were breached because we don't think they can produce the water. The city won't ask them to produce the water. Number two, we went in and looked at the contract, and it was never put out to bid. If you look at the contract, 15.1, section 15.1 lists the reasons for the contract can be broken. And one of the reasons is if you can successfully challenge it with the Procurement Act. The Procurement Act simply says you have to put it out to bid.
Exactly.
They never did. I asked Mr. Thoresen for the ads for bids on the contract for the desalinization plant. They don't have any. So it was never put out to bid. That was one way they could get out of it. But like Mr. Zakawa said, I think they should just ask them, can you produce the water? We want 3 million gallons tomorrow. If you can't produce it, then we're out of the contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Nezzarella is a real estate attorney. He's not a contractual attorney. And I feel that we should have an outside law firm look at it. That way we get an open, we get an honest opinion. But the firm cannot be tied to the city of Brockton. So for 2 years I've been asking them for this, and they refuse to do anything about it. They keep paying, and they don't have to.
Yeah. Tom, Dick mentioned something about our streets. They're horrible. And as I know, especially in our area, those streets are so bad you can't even go by. And I want to know, all that money, where do they go? Our taxes going up every year, and we don't see any improvement in the streets. I think the city is lacking by asking, from Chapter 90 some money to fix the streets, because the state has a Chapter 90, and first comes, first serves. I never see anybody from the city of Brockton to go in there and knock the door and say, hey, we want some money for the streets of Brockton, because the squeak wheel gets the grease. If you don't go in there and ask for that money, they will never allocate it. I hear that somebody says, oh, we sent him an email. Email doesn't mean anything. You have to go in there and fight for those funds, okay? And the other thing I look, about the fiasco which has been done for the College of Stonehill. I mean, there are so many buildings and they pay only $15,000 a year. What do you have to say about that, Don?
As far as the streets are concerned, all the streets are very bad. There's a lot of them that are very bad. Westwood Avenue, that's very bad. Westwood Avenue has been bad for a real long time. I live on Westwood. That's the street leading into your street. And,
right, exactly.
I've called before. I've tried to say something about it, but they just don't listen. Is the money that has been raised in the taxes, it should be easy for them to take care of the streets, but they're not. But again, this is something that if I get in, I'm going to do my part to take care of these problems. Like Dick said, we're 3 people here that are running with the same agenda. And that's more than just one person getting in to do something. It's kind of tough. But if you get a whole bunch of people with the same agenda, running with the same platform, there's no limit to what can be done.
I want to ask, Dick, the question. Do you think because we do not have any progress in the city of Brockton is on account of nepotism, which we see, in there? We don't have qualified people to do the job, right. And always we have that nepotism,
right.
Appointing people, relatives, etc. They don't even consider conflict of interest or nothing.
Good point. I just did an interview in the next studio with Democratically Speaking with Steve Foote, the Democratic chair of the city. Brockton, and nepotism did come up. And I answered that question. I think you're always going to have a certain degree of nepotism. That's human nature. My problem more than that is to make sure the people are qualified. I'm very concerned when the city council unanimously, 9-1, there was one council that was absent, voted against minimum qualifications for department heads. You have department heads that are running millions and millions of dollars in a budget, and they don't have any minimum qualifications. And I use the analogy: if I had to go, God forbid, for brain surgery, and I go see my brain surgeon, I said, do you have any minimum qualifications? Well, not really. I don't need them. Guess what I'm going to do? Go to the office down the street. So that's a problem, and yes, nepotism's a problem. I think residency requirement, they're all over the place. That was voted in by the people 2-1, right? Yeah. And it's not being enforced. It's like double standards, wishy-washy. It's either all or nothing. I mean, the department heads are required to be residents of the city, and a lot of them are not. So,
and the people vote for that.
They voted for it, correct.
And they don't follow. That's why I don't understand.
The teachers are exempt, and I can see that because you got to draw from a vast pool of talent. However, the public safety officials, police and fire, after serving 7 years as residents and on the departments, then they can move. Jack Units cut that deal years ago. However, it's still required for the department heads to live in the city, and there's all sorts of exemptions everywhere. The new police chief, he may be a great guy, but he's not a resident. The mayor waived that. The school superintendent was a very talented guy. He came into the city. They questioned whether or not he was a bona fide resident and rented an apartment. They gave him a vote of no confidence, the school committee. And then he left, and who hires him? Governor Deval Patrick as his educational czar, making twice the money he made here. So, I mean, you can't have it one way or the other. It's got to be all or nothing.
Exactly.
I agree.
Very good. And now let's talk about another subject. This is the power plant. What do you think about the power plant? You think it's good for the city of Brockton? Shall we have it in here to bring more taxes in here, or you should?
Want to start with me?
I'll start with Tom first.
Huh? I don't think the power plant is a good idea. As far as pollution is concerned, the well-being of our children, we live in this city. They want to throw this power plant up next to houses. It's just not. I don't see that it's a good idea. I mean, what we can make from the deal, it doesn't. It's not in line with what the bad parts of the program. I don't think it's a good idea at all.
How about you, Mr. Mera?
I'm
Are
against
you for
it.
or against
I'm against it. And I'll tell you why. First of all, it's not going to benefit the city, other than a few tax dollars. They will not get a cut in their electricity. The electricity is going to be shipped to Connecticut. So the citizens of Brockton are not going to benefit from that. Not only that, I don't know how many people they're going to hire. I heard from like between 5 and 20. Now, how many people in Brockton are qualified to work in a power plant? Not only that, if they took that land and they put a business in there like Concord Foods or W.B. Mason or Cindy's Kitchen to hire like 100 people or 150 people, that's what we need. We need jobs. This city needs jobs, good paying jobs, and we should put a manufacturer in there as opposed to a power plant.
Speaking about jobs, I'm watching, the city of Boston, rather. They bring all kind people in their business on the waterfront. Right in there, you see some big pharmaceutical company come in. Some shoe company came down in North Station. Why the city of Brockton doesn't get a committee, so to speak, to go and to look after those jobs? Because we have the Century 21. I haven't seen to do anything myself. I might be wrong, but I think these people, they should go and look for those big companies to bring them here in Brockton. Don't you think so?
Yeah, well, one of my items of my platform is that I would like to get a few businessmen who have businesses in the city to have a committee to go out and promote Brockton. But that's not going to happen until we lower the tax rates, until we make the city safe.
Right.
That's the top priority. We have to make the city safe, number one. Put more police on the street. Number two, we have to lower the commercial tax rate and lower the water rates. If we get rid of the desal contract, we can lower the water rates. Then we can promote the business. I want to have a committee of businessmen from the city of Brockton to go out and promote the city and get businesses to come here. Because the best advertisement is word of mouth. So if you have your businessmen in your city touting the city, then they're going to take a second look at Brockton.
Definitely. It's very, very true that we got to lower the tax rate, only for the business.
By lowering the tax rate,
but for the people too. Yeah. Because looking again on the Boston Globe, on Sunday Globe, I look around a house in Hingham, $800,000 value. The tax rate was about $6,000. And houses in here about $500,000. The tax rate, believe it or not, is about $8,500. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, I can't figure it out, And they come in, they value that thing, the tax rate is going higher and higher. I mean, something has to be done because very soon people are going to start living in the city of Brockton. And you're going to see a lot of empty houses.
We're going to strangle the residents and strangle the businesses. We need to drop that tax rate so we can make it better for businesses who want to come into our city.
Exactly.
If we can do that, we can grow our tax base that way instead of hitting people with all these taxes. We need to grow our tax base.
Exactly. Anything else you want to cover, which I didn't ask you? An important thing that I know, Ron, you mentioned something about hiring more police officers because I don't know. I think the crime rate here in Brockton is a little bit high.
There's been 95 murders since 2002.
Exactly, and I think we need to hire more police people in here, safety.
Yeah. The general rule is that you should have 2.25 policemen for each 1,000 residents, which means Brockton should have about 225. Plus, you have to add 15% for indigents of people that aren't registered in the city. So you need about 250. Right now, we have 170. They're going to hire 15 more. But that still leaves us 65 policemen short.
Exactly.
And there's no way that you can cover that city with that many policemen.
Okay, thank you. And now, I think our time is running almost out. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes each one to address the public and tell them why you're running and what is your plan.
Okay, well, I'm running because I feel that the city is broken. I feel that with the proper vision, we can make the city better. We need to hire people, the best and brightest and most talented, to help run the city. All department heads, we need an open and honest government. We need a mayor that's going to tell the people what's going on. No backdoor deals, no secret deals, which is going on now. We need to get out of these bad contracts, and we need to put more policemen on the street, and I think we can do it.
Thank you. Tom?
I'm running because I want to do something about the taxes in the city. They're awfully high. They get raised all the time. Tim Cruz votes for a tax increase every single year. And there's just no need for it. There's other ways that we can handle that. And we need to look at those other options that we have. Also, by me becoming a Ward 1 city councilor, if I'm elected, there'll be no conflicts of interest with me. There was a big conflict of interest with Tim Cruz and Stonehill College, and he didn't want to look into the renegotiating the deal with Stonehill College because he said that his son was an attendee of the college. That's ridiculous. That's the biggest scapegoat. He just didn't want to deal with the problem. I'm going to deal with the problems. I'm going to answer my phone. I got a phone here that I just got the other day, and this is going to be the people's phone. When this phone rings, I'll answer it, and I'll do something about it. That's a lot more than Tim Cruz can say about what he's done for the citizens of Brockton.
Thank you, Tom. Dick?
Well, I have an opportunity with an open seat. As you know, Councilor Chris McMillan is one of the 4 mayoral candidates, so his seat is open. And one of my opponents is Tim Sullivan, a school committee member right now. But I think what we need is some new blood in the city council. I think we have to better manage the budget. I think we're in one of the worst global recessions we've ever had in the history of the world. And yet we have 276 people making well over $100,000. We have another 100 making well over $75,000. and we got to ensure that they're qualified. But yet we have one of the highest commercial and residential tax rates in the entire state, and the average family income is only $46,000. And as far as I'm aware of, they never even cut back overtime in a year. I mean, I'm not for anyone getting laid off, but we can better manage our government, give the people more return on their money, fix the infrastructure, lower the taxes, get people back in businesses, offer tax incentives for businesses to locate here, and fix up the infrastructure. It's plain and simple, and we should look into a regionalized form of government with the other communities within Plymouth County. There are 27 communities. We could sell some of our services to them. We could combine our efforts and negotiate better health care programs at a volume discount. And we need a better city government all around, not only city, state, and federal. So we're all striving, I think, for the same thing, to represent the people the best we can.
Excellent. I agree with you, especially I was reading in the Enterprise the other day, some of the salaries in there, you know, they are,
right.
6 figures.
I mean,
this is ridiculous. I mean, that's why, the tax rate is going high in order to cover those high salaries. I think somebody should look at those salaries and do something about it. And the other thing, Dick, assistant, you see about, in one department and one superintendent to have about 3-4 assistants. And all those guys, they make, 6 figures salary.
Right.
That somebody got to look at those things,
One of the problems is where the money's going. We have a healthy balance sheet, right? We have a AAA credit rating at the taxpayer's expense. We need someone to come in, manage the city budget more efficiently, and we do not need to be in the baseball business. We do not need to be in the conference center business. We do not need to be in the mortgage or real estate business by taking foreclosed homes over by eminent domain. That's not our specialty. City officials are elected to serve and protect the public. That's the main responsibility, and I think the three of us are after the same goal here.
Yeah. Another question we miss, and I want to bring it up to your attention. How are they doing with the Rocks, the baseball? Because in there, I think, was some kind of money that the city had to pay. What happened to that deal now?
Well, they did a deal with the Collegiate League, which is college players. They don't have to pay them taxes. But they agreed to pay the insurance, they agreed to pay the electricity on the stadium. Right now, last year the city gave the 21st Century Club $468,000. They took the hotel motel tax, gave it the 21st Century Club to pay back the loan to the city. So basically the city is paying itself. What they should do is privatize that stadium and the Shaw Center and make it a taxpayer instead of a tax liability.
It wasn't supposed to cost us anything.
Exactly.
It's costing us an arm and a leg.
And I think the city posted some bond in there. What is that, about 10, 15 million?
They borrowed $8 million from the state.
$8 million, yeah.
And they're using the hotel tax that was earmarked to fix up the downtown to pay their water bills. I'm sure all of us here would love the city to pay for our water and sewer bills.
Yeah, that would be great.
Right now,
unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Now,
pay my real estate tax bill too.
I believe the Shaw Center and the Rock Stadium, I think between them they owe like $200,000 in water bills. And why aren't they leaned? They're going after these citizens who have faulty water meters, but they don't seem to be going after the stadium or the Rocks.
Yeah, it's a shame. They have 680 liens on people's homes that are struggling to make ends meet, working 3 jobs to try to pay their mortgage. The foreclosure rate's high enough, and they put liens, jump the gun due to faulty water meters. Obviously, someone gets a $100,000 water bill. Something went remiss there. And they should remove all those liens immediately. We had the money in the budget, the water and sewer budget, to replace those meters. They hired an outside consultant, Campbell Dresser McGee. They recommended those meters to be fixed. They ignored it. They invested the money elsewhere. And the problem started with going into Boston, appealing it, and people are getting cases taken care of now. So that could all have been prevented.
Yeah, exactly. And my understanding is that they're going to go up again on the rate on the water and sewer.
Well,
They
the
tried
Water
to.
Commission recommended 2-1. We were at that meeting to go up 6.5%, but it's up to the city council and the mayor to accept it, which as of today they haven't yet. And it's political suicide if they go up on the rates.
Well,
Definitely.
I can't understand why they're going up, because I made a request from Mr. Condon. I wanted to know what the balance was in the water and sewer accounts as of November 1st, 2012. The water enterprise account had over $5 million, and the sewer enterprise account had over $9 million. So between the two of them, they had almost $15 million.
Wow.
Why are they going up when they should be cutting the water rate, not going up on it?
Yeah.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Plus $6 million a year comes out of those enterprise accounts to pay the desal plant.
Yeah, yeah.
If they get rid of that desal plant, then they can cut the water rates.
Right.
That's why Ron, Tom, and Dick, we need new blood in here.
With change for the
We
city.
need reorganization in this town because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know, talking to many other people, they are fed up. Tax rate is going up every year. Like Tom says, the streets are horrible, and we don't get no service at all. And I think we need some new people.
The people
Okay?
need a voice on the city
Definitely.
council and city
No
government.
question about it.
The people have to get out.
But there's
and vote.
been no voice for the people.
Exactly. There's no voice. And only that is no voice. Like you said, Tom, you have your telephone, and if somebody call you, you're going to answer. You try to call any of the councilors, and especially like you mentioned, Ward 1.
Tim Cruz.
He won't even answer you. As a matter of fact, I want to make it here clear. I called him once, and I told him about the street, how bad it is. You know what he told me? If you can get me 30 signatures from the people around, I'll see what I can do. I'm going to go around and try to find people to sign in order to do something. I mean, those things have to be stopped, and we need new blood, and I hope you people, get elected and try to reorganize the city and go for progress. Okay? Well, I think my thing says that our time is over.
Right.
I want to thank you very much for coming this evening to the studio and talking so nice about everything that we need in here for the city of Brockton. And hopefully, when you get elected, I want you to come back again in my program and talk a little bit more about it and have a connection. I'll appreciate that.
I'm happy
Very
to.
good.
I'll
There'll be
come
full
back
transparency.
I'll come
Exactly.
back anytime you want.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
May I say this? The only way things are going to change is if people get out and vote. We have to get the people out to vote. If that doesn't
Exactly.
happen,
We don't want apathetic people.
Yeah.
They got to go in there and
they have
cast
to
their
vote.
vote in order if they want to change those things.
Yes.
That is very, very important. Very important. Thank you very much
Well,
again.
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my guests this evening were Ron Mata, who is running for mayor for the city of Brockton, Tom Sidel, who is running for Ward 1, and Dick Zaccaro for running for Ward 7. Thank you for being with us. Αγαπητοί μας φίλοι, όπως συνήθως, το πρόγραμμά μας έφτασε στο τέλος του. Πρωτού κλείσω, θα ήθελα να ευχαριστήσω το Εθνικό Ίδρυμα Ραδιοφωνίας και Τηλεοράσεως των Αθηνών, ως και της Κύπρου, ως επίσης και όλους εσάς που παραμείνετε μαζί μας για μια ολόκληρη ώρα. Μέχρι τις επόμενες εκπομπές μας, σας χαιρετώ, Σταύρος Δήμου. Γεια σας.
Δεν το αρνιέμαι απ' το συνόμι τυλινιό. Είμαι σε όλα ξακουστός, ο Μερακλής μη